Hi everyone, my name is Krishan and I am a developer advocate here at Airbyte. And in this quick tutorial, I will be showing you how to load Google Sheets data into Postgres in AWS RDS. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is set up our Google Cloud Platform account. The first step is to, of course, do that. We're going to go ahead and first enable the Google Sheets API on our Google Cloud Platform. So I'm just going to literally search for Google Sheets API. And I think some of this will already be enabled. If not, it has been enabled yet. Here we go. It's not enabled yet. So we're going to enable the Google Sheets API here. And also, if you don't know where to log in, I have the links in the description below. You go to console.cloud.google.com to bring you to where we're at. And I simply type Google Sheets API in the search bar. Secondly, what we want to do next is search for the Google Drive API. And let's look for that. And I think I already have that one enabled. Google Drive API. Oh, did I spell that wrong? No, I didn't. Here you go. Google Drive API at the bottom. Okay. We are going to click enable. And we'll wait for that. Now, once we have done that, next we will create a service account that will generate credentials to access Google Sheets, right? So from the Cloud Console, we're going to go to credentials. We're going to go to credentials page and create a new service account. Create credentials, click on service account. All right, and our name will be Airbyte. Let's do lowercase because, of course, we're using Airbyte. Click continue. The role we'll be selecting is owner. Or type in owner if you don't have it showing under the tab. Click continue, click done, boom, there you go. Now, while we're here, one thing to remember, and I'll just zoom in for you, but you want to remember this email right here that we have. You want to remember this email, and I'm going to save it on my notes on the side for me. So remember that if on your end. I'll remember mine. We will be using it later, so again, make sure you remember that. Now, after this, let's click on the email. And then click on keys. What we need to do next is we need to create a new key. And when the key file is ready, we'll have to download it. So let's go ahead and add a new key. Click on create new key right here. And make sure JSON is selected. Select create or click on create. Boom. And then download the key on here. You download the key. Make sure you keep these credentials. It should be in your downloaded folder unless you change the destination of where your downloads go. Make sure you save that. We'll be using that later, and we'll go over that in a second. Now, finally, what we need to do next is that we need to actually go to our Google Sheets, whatever Google Sheet you want to use. I made a random fake Google Sheets with random numbers, which you'll see here. And the reason, again, I asked you to remember that email. So I have my email still. So now finally log into Google Sheets, create a new spreadsheet unless you already have one. I've created a Google Sheet here. All you need to do is once you have that Google Sheet ready, click share. That email that you had earlier, simply paste in here, click send. There you go. We clicked on share and we added email for the service account that we created in the previous step to give it access. All right, so now let's go to the next step. Okay, so next we will set up a Postgres instance using Amazon RDS. And before creating the Postgres instance, we'll first need to create a security group that whitelists Airbyte's cloud IP to give it access to that Postgres instance, right? So for that to happen, we're going to log into AWS, and then we will go to EC2, which I already have open. If you don't have it open, just simply type EC2. We're going to go there, which I'm sure many of y'all already know. Next, we'll click on security groups. Now, we are here in security groups. What we'll do next is create security group, and we're going to give this a name. Let's say Airbyte Cloud in description, write whitelist Airbyte Cloud IP. Okay. Next, in the inbound rules section, we're going to add a rule under custom TCP. We're going to select Postgres and the IP address that we will be entering in this section right here, right, with the magnifying glass. We'll type in the Airbyte Cloud IP address, which is 34.106.109.131.32. All right, enter. And then what we'll do is we'll actually add one more rule. We'll add one more rule for Postgres again. Select Postgres. And this time we'll choose my IP. And this will be blocked out so you don't see my IP address. I don't want any of y'all to see that. And last but not least, we click create security group, which I've already done. But what this does is that this will allow you to connect to the database from your local machine through the Postgres CLI. So once the security group is created, and I've already done it, so I don't need to do it again, we can now create a Postgres instance by going to Amazon RDS. So let's go there now, and I already have it saved on here. Let's go to Amazon RDS, let that load. So now we're here at the RDS dashboard, right? And what we want to do next is that we want to create a database, which we're doing right now, and leave a lot of this as default, right? There's some things that will change. For example, our engine options will be Postgres. We'll leave this under production, multi-AZDB instance. Okay, so for the DB instance identifier, I'll be using, I'll be naming this Twitter questions, right? Because that's what my Google Docs or Google Sheets is all about, Google questions, right? Master username will be Postgres. You put in your password, whatever password you want to use. Make sure that works. All right. Now under connectivity, leave everything else the same. Leave everything the same in storage. Up to you. Choose whatever you want to do. But now under connectivity, we want to make sure that we select public access. This is very important. You want to make sure that we give public access, or else you won't be able to access this at all whatsoever through your through the Postgres CLI. So I think that is it. Choose existing, and of course existing VPC security groups. So what do we need to select? You select the security group you created earlier that we went through in a second, where we whitelist the Airbyte IP and whitelist our own IP so that we could gain access to this database wherever we are. So I'm selecting that. It's not, there you go. And I don't want to use default. Okay. And of course, port 5432. And I believe that is it. Now let's go ahead and create database. And I did use a password that a lot of people use, but I'm just going to keep it here because this is just for a test. Okay, so don't judge me. Now you'll see that I have multiple instances here. Now it is very important to remember the master username and the password you created prior. The username that you have, which was Postgres, which is what I use, and the password I created because we'll be using it later in the Airbyte Cloud UI that we'll be using in just a second. So now let's go to this DB. Now under Twitter questions, you will see that the database is still being created. It might take a few moments. It took a few minutes for me. And once this is loaded, we will see URL endpoint and a port number, and we'll just give it a few minutes until it loads, and we'll continue with the video. Okay, so it's been a few minutes and I have refreshed my page, and you can see that we already have an endpoint. Now we want to make sure that the DB instance is publicly accessible. How do we know if it is? It says yes right here, and it is publicly accessible. To modify the public access settings, you can see the link I'll put in the description below, which is how you can modify an Amazon RDS DB instance. Okay, next, what we want to do is that we want to connect to our Postgres instance to create a database that will be used to back up our data by running the following command in our SQL CLI. And let's get that going. Let me open up my terminal. Okay, so now we're here in my terminal. Now again, if you do want to see these commands, I will put in the description. So what we'll be doing is I'm going to write PostgreSQL H, and then our Postgres host. And what is our Postgres host? Right here. Boom. All right, space -P and your port number, and our port number is 54. Oops. Let's fix this. PE. Port number is 5432 -U, and our username. Our username on here again is Postgres, and then our password. No, we don't put password yet. We'll just do this. All right, and now it's going to ask for your password. That should work. Boom. We are connected. Now, when creating a Postgres instance, the default database created is usually called Postgres. For this example, we will create a new database to back up our Google Sheet data by running this command, which is create database, and we're going to call it Google Sheets backup. Boom. Create a database. And once we created this, you should see database you started along with the default database. And the way that you do that is I believe it's \L. Here we go. And let's make this a little smaller so y'all can see this clearly. So we're looking at the list of all of our default databases and then the database that we just created, which is Google Sheets Backup. Now, since we're currently using the master username and password, which has full privileges to your Postgres instance, you might want to create a specific user that has access only to Google Sheets Backup database. Now, these user credentials can be used with Airbyte without having to worry about the rest of your instance. But let's go ahead and let's create the new user by running the following command below. Okay, so we'll create user. Username will be, let's just name it, I don't know, Krishan. Why not? Right, and then with password, and the password has to be in quotes or single quotes. We'll try single quotes for now. Whatever password will be, let's just name it. All right, something that I would never use. Okay, there you go. We created a role. Next, we will need to grant this new user, which is Krishan for me, access to the Google Sheets backup database by running the following commands. Okay. So just look at what I'm typing. And again, these commands will be in the description. Grant usage on schema public to, what is the username I created? Should be Krishan, right? Done. Then we'll grant select on all tables. Grant select on all tables in schema public to username Chris Sean. Boom. Granted. All right, next, what we want to do is set up Google Sheets as the Airbyte source. And the way you do that, we got to go to Airbyte Cloud. Okay, so I've already signed up. I have access to Airbyte Cloud. And once you've done that, you will go ahead and start creating our connection. So I'm here on our beautiful Airbyte Cloud UI that you do not need to run locally because, again, it's Airbyte Cloud. Let's go ahead and let's set up Google Sheets as an Airbyte source. And the way that you do that is that you have to make sure that there's multiple tabs on here. So you want to make sure that you're on the Connections tab. Click on New Connection. And you know what? Let's close this. Our source connector will be Google Sheets. The name of this will be Google Sheets. There are two ways to authenticate via Google using 0auth or the service account key. If you remember, we did download the key through there. You simply go back to that file, right? And I have it already, and I don't want to show it to you because it's kind of private. I'm going to copy information from that file, paste that into here. Last but not least, you will go back to whatever Google Sheets you created, whatever form you created, copy that URL, the entire URL, and paste that in here. Now, as for me, I'll show you how it looks when we use Google instead of the service account key. So if I was to use Google, simply as easy as that, sign in using the email that you use on the Google platform. Authentication succeeded. Next, we will click set up the source. This will take a couple seconds, but as this loads, we're building up a source connector and a destination using 0 code. Now we see that all connections have passed. Now let's go to our destination. Now, what destination will we be using? We'll be using Postgres. So go into here, type in Postgres. Postgres will pop up. Our name will be, I'll use PostgreSQL AWS since it's already filled out over there. Now the question is, what is your host name? Your host name, if you go back to right here, go back to AWS RDS. This is your host name. Simply copy that, paste that into your host right here. Paste that into host. Your port will be 5432. Leave it at the same. And your DB name, because we created our backup DB in a terminal, right? We named it Google Sheets Backup. So in the same instance, we will name this Google Sheets Backup. User will be the credentials you created. For me, it was Postgres, and then my password that I created, and that's it. You simply click Setup Destination. It will test it out to see if this actually goes through. Look at that! All connections have passed. All tests have passed. Right now, as this screen is loading, we are setting up the connection. Usually it takes a couple seconds. It's already done. Now, under Setup Connection, under Replication Frequency, I'm going to simply leave this as manual for me. You can do whatever you want on your end. And under Sync Mode, we will select Overwrite. And then in regards to normalization, we'll select normalize, and it's already selected there. So last but not least, set up connection. And we're not done yet. We're almost done. We're getting there. Click set up connection, and we will run our sync now. You can see everything that's being conducted right now in this log, and we can just watch it load. It might take a few minutes, so we're gonna wait for this to load. We will know if it's successful or failed, because right here where it says running, it will say either successful or failed. Okay, everyone, now as we can tell, the sync has succeeded. We'll see that 302 emitted records, let's say 2. We'll see that 312 emitted records, and we'll also see the number 312 committed records and how long it took to complete this entire sync, which took 1 minute 31 seconds. Not too bad, because there's pretty much not much data in here anyway. Next, what we'll want to do is connect to our PostgreSQL and connect to the Google Sheets backup database to view the tables created by Airbyte by running develop command. Let's go to terminal again. Okay, so simply simply type Google Sheets backup, type in the password. Okay, you're now connected to the database Google Sheets backup. Then I will type in /DT. And now what we see here is that we now see the tables that was created by Airbyte, including the normalized data and the Airbyte raw sheet 3 tables. Right. And now if we want to actually view the structure of this, for example, we'll just type in /D, and let's go look at we can see it here, but we'll see we have questions, keywords, sheet 3, and etc. under here. Going back to our terminal, let's just look at questions. Boom. Now we see the columns, the types, etc. And that's it. And if you want to cast some fields to specific types, you can write some DBT transformations in SQL and run them after Airbyte sync. I'll link how you can do that to our docs in the description below. And if you want, we could add some new rows to the spreadsheet and rerun the sync to see that old data gets overwritten, but you can do that yourself. So in this video, what we have done is that first we've set up our Google Cloud Platform account, right? Number 2, we set up a Postgres instance in AWS RDS. Then we set up Google Sheets as a source on Airbyte, and then we set up Postgres as an instance, and then in result building a connection from Google Sheets to Postgres. There you go. That is how you load Google Sheets to Postgres in AWS RDS. If you have any questions, please leave a question in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you as soon as I can. My name is Chris Sean, and I will see you all at the next video.